make you more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. We'll just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, start offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dad.
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we doing?
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Dude, I love working out. Like, I've missed it. What the?
The eCam's all funky.
Well, no, it's just my camera reset because I zoomed and I panned.
No, my eCam, only half of the screen is working, and we're like,
Close it and restart it.
I did.
Do it again. Do it again. Something's weird.
Yeah, it's having some issues.
It's okay. We'll get it in post. No, we won't. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. This is great. We had the recorded show earlier. Welcome to all of our viewers on Instagram. Yes, you need your little cameras. I feel like you're my children. You're so needy. Countdown clock. New countdown clock will be here. Amazon was supposed to have it here. They failed miserably. Where is... Ecamm needs a button for old people. Seriously. Help us out. All right. This is what we'll do. This is what let's do it right now with everybody on here because it wouldn't be a show. What's wrong now?
Rumble is working, but chat's not working on Rumble.
Just ignore it. Just let's not say we did. We're not going to let it bother us today.
Oh no, not gonna let it bother us. Just trying to figure it out.
All right, there you go. There's one. And then there's two. And we're going to go ahead and put me in here. And we'll put Liv there. And then we will do one other thing. And then we'll all be good. More than welcome to call in if you want to. I think, Liv, that because you're on Instagram, you're on Rumble, and you're monitoring all those different sites, that it's pulling a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
A ton. Dude, Izzo redid his show. He's up in his game.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, I'm going to say I'm proud of him. Look at that. Look at that. It's very, very anchorish. We're going to be a staple on Izzo's show. He said, I want you guys on there. Oh, it's somebody else's channel. Never mind. Forget it. He still sucks. He's on the Young Turks. Holy shnikes.
He went on the Young Turks.
Oh, my gosh.
Good for him. Oh, you need to go on the Young Turks.
No, they will never have me on. They know how much I hate Cenk Uyghur. What a nice guy. Sorry.
He's a nice guy.
I'm trying to be a nicer guy. 1 second, folks. I'm doing something good for you, okay? And then we'll get to it. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. We can do that. Here we go. Drop that in there. See, I'm giving you guys your own little logo and never say I didn't do it. Here, I'll just do this. I'm just going to give you and it just, give you the basic logo if I could find it. All right, there it is. See? Now everybody will know why we have these two other cameras right here. It's because of our Instagram peeps. There you go, Instagram peeps. All right. You should be happy. Olivia, we're joined by an Instagram logo.
Really?
All right. So what's going on? What's,
Rumble just for some reason it's not working.
is everyone else having a problem with Rumble?
Yes, Kevin came on YouTube and let me know that.
Kevin's complaining.
Yes.
Well, at least he's complaining here. I'm surprised he didn't call in, but you're on, so why would he? Looks like we're 5x5 on Instagram. I want to say thanks to all the Instagram peeps. Good to have you here. Good to have you on. Hello, YouTube. Good to see our Rumble people on, struggling to get connected, but it's good to have you here. We've got our Spreely TV people. Look at Instagram. Man, that doesn't really, it really doesn't work, does it?
Instagram's up. Spreely's up.
You see that? Look at that Instagram. That's pretty cool.
Rumble is the video's working, just not chat, but that's okay.
All right, well, then it sounds like a Rumble problem. The damn Chinese people. All right, so let's get to it. Susie, can't you see my comments? I got a weird message. Well, if we can't see your comments, then what's the point of writing it? It's kind of like if you're in a forest and a tree falls, can you hear it? What's going on, Amy? Merry Christmas, everybody. Kevin is on. Wow, we got a lot of people on. It's nice. Nice to see so many people on so quick. All right, let's get to it. First of all, there's a phone number. If you want to call in, 804-212-2208. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too big. I was watching before the show General Flynn, who I'm not going to say I don't like General Flynn because I've listened to him enough times, but I've got some questions about. See, it's easy for people to say, okay, well, there was no Russia collusion. And there wasn't. As far as changing votes and hijacking the 2016 election, but there were some people who did some pretty nefarious things with Russia. And Paul Manafort was kind of like the catalyst for this whole thing. And if you actually do some research and then you watch these people posthumous from their pardoning, they're very much pro-Russia in a lot of ways. So to me, I always look for people like that because I'm not pro-Russia. In fact, I'm about as anti-Russia as they come because I guess I'm a relic from the Cold War, right? So not that I was in during the Cold War because that would be crazy, but there was a Cold War that went on between Russia and the United States long after and the armistice and the nuclear disarmament and all of that. In fact, the fall from democracy that happened in Russia when the oligarchs came in and the crime and the mafia and the mob and all that, the country really changed its face. And Russia has a very anti-American sentiment inside of it, which blames the United States for losing the Iron Curtain, the Soviet Union, the Iron Bloc, so to speak, and especially in the tunnels and channels and hallways of the government, whether it be Politburo or sympathizer, KGB, or retired Spetsnaz, whatever it is. These people have a certain disposition with the United States. And as much as Joe Biden is beholden to China, there were definite signs that some ponies were traded with Russia. And honestly, to me, it doesn't bother me. Now, if you're doing, state secrets and shit, that's different. But if you're trading ponies with foreign nations and ambassadors and Secretary of States and NSA director and everything else are communicating back and forth with different countries, essentially that's what has to take place. Because you have to build rapport and you have to build relationships. But to say that there's not this underlying Russian sympathy that goes along with Trump supporters, not normal Trump supporters, but the farthest of the far, we've had them on this show. And the one thing you can guarantee with those people is one is they're they hate Jews, and they love Russia and Putin. Now, the media says this all the time, and everyone blows it off. But you're hearing it from a conservative who has a fairly large following and sees this nonstop when people call in, but also I see it on Facebook and everything else. There is a very large element of the Republican Party that at least empathizes with Vladimir Putin over Ukraine. And my stance is fuck them both. Oops. Sorry. First one. Screw them both. I don't care about Russia or Ukraine. In fact, I let them do their thing, whether it be Syria or whether it be Crimea. Russia's got to do what Russia's got to do. Ukraine's got to do what Ukraine's got to do. And the United States doesn't need to get involved in any of it until we have to. There's a ghost walking by. That's my son. I got to find out what's going on. What's going on, dude?
Hayden has 100.5. I gotta check her out.
All right. It's probably because she's actually doing work.
You can hear that she's testing it right now.
All right. So daughter has a fever. Mom's going to go check. So when I first do this, it's certainly not to hurt anybody's feelings, and it's not to say that Trump supporters are Russian sympathizers and that, you know, Biden supporters are Chinese sympathizers, because I think that is just painting everybody with the same brush. I'm talking about the fringe element of the party. I'm talking about the people who are calling for civil war. I'm talking about the people for Antifa calling people on the right Nazis, and the extreme members of the party. And I think there's something to say about that if we continue to pretend that Republicans can do no wrong, and Democrats can do no right, and Democrats can do no wrong, and Republicans can do no right. I think that's where I was in the old adage. I think it's disingenuous and it's a disservice to what's really happening, because I can show you plenty of video, whether it be Bannon or Manafort or Flynn or Giuliani, who've demonstrated not ardent support, but subtle support for Russia. And to me, I have a big problem with that. And I have a big problem with it because I don't think that if you are pro-Ukraine, that you have to be anti-Russia, or if you're anti-Russia, you have to be pro-Ukraine, and that you have to be pro-Ukraine or pro-Russia, or anti-Russia and anti-Ukraine. Can we just be, I don't care? Can we just be, I don't want to send billions of dollars to a lost cause? Here's what it comes down to. You can hear all the military analysis in the world. You can listen to all ex-intelligence officers and intelligence analysts, including myself and Leroy and Mikey. And we're going to tell you the simple truth based upon what time frame we were in theater. And my understanding of Russia is different than most 20-year-old analysts, because not 20 years old, but 20 years removed, is because I've kept up with the times and I've kept up with the geopolitical situation. And I live vicariously through that lifestyle and still follow it religiously because it interests me, whether it be a book or whether it be a movie or whether it be a news clip or another source, a human intelligence source from people who I've built relationships with. I'm always going to stay abreast and current of certain situations. But if you really ask the people who have no dog in the fight and ask them the simple question, who's going to win between Russia and Ukraine? The answer is, with absolutely no doubt, Russia. This is a battle of attrition. And it's all, I don't care about the weapon systems. I don't care about intelligence apparatus. I don't care about special forces. I don't care about air support, naval support. None of that matters. It comes down to attrition. And the attrition number is human life. And Russia can simply recruit more people than Ukraine. Ukraine is now recruiting people under the age of 18 and women. Where do you go after this? Where do you go after this? There's nowhere else to go. You've got adult males. You're pulling from Poland and other refugee territories, age fighting males. You've went through that. You've went through seniors. Now you've got to basically pull women and kids. And once you do that, what do? There is nothing to do. There is no option. So I don't want to hear about weapon systems. I don't want to hear about money. The only thing you're doing, and the only thing that the United States is hoping for, and let me be clear, is that the dollars that are being sent to Ukraine simply sustain and replace the stopgap, which is people, with technology. And I'm telling you that is a losing battle, because we did the same thing in Afghanistan. We tried to throw a bunch of money at Afghanistan. It didn't work. In the end, we underestimated Taliban. They were harsh and fierce fighters who were all battle hardened, even the young ones. They had gone up against some of the best Russian military. And they were just absolute cast in iron. And we underestimated the Afghanis. And any person who is downrange will tell you that. Anybody who got outside the wire will tell you that we underestimated the Taliban, because they were fierce fighters. Now, some of them were complete yokels, but you got to understand, with the guerrilla warfare tactics, the IEDs, they just lowered morale like they did to the Russians. And the Russians just lost the passion and will to fight. They just said, we're done. This is our Vietnam, and we're being bled dry. So they left. And they did exactly what the United States did. So when people are like, Ukraine's going to win the war. No, they're not. The only thing that can take place is that the loss of human life is somehow slowed down to a point that you're able to take Vladimir Putin's lives and he pulls back and leaves because the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. And unfortunately, he put it all on black. Red. He put it all on red. And Vladimir Putin has sunk everything into this. This will either get him removed in a coup and dead, and you'll never hear or find his body, and he'll just poof, or he will increase his power, his overall strength, his overall revenue, his economic stability, his import exports. He will start investing in gas distribution once the conflict's over. They'll repair the Nord Stream 1 and 2. And you will see Vladimir Putin, for as long as he's there, to continue to reign as a dictator in Russia. Those are your options. Vladimir Putin hasn't said shit about Poland. Give me a break. Kamala Harris and all them are saying, he hasn't said anything about that. Because some Russian defense minister, they say that stuff all the time. They're not into politics. It's different in Russia than it is in the United States. Their whole entire concept and motivation is to kill the enemy. Ours is to have an inclusive rainbow-spotted frickin' flag on all of our uniforms. Ours is to ensure that we can march step in unison to the YMCA songs, okay? That the Navy, has all-inclusive green camo, because so they don't feel inferior that they're on a ship and wearing blue camo, which makes no sense, because the last thing you want is when your ship sinks is to have blue camo, which makes you harder to find. The second dumbest color is green. But we couldn't wear Dago yellow because then that would fulfill all the stories about the Navy guys being gay. So we're going to give them camo so they can feel inclusive, but they're not the Army. They're not the Marines. The Navy's a fucking joke. Pardon my French. That's 2. If I get to 3, you need to tell me. I'm trying not to cuss as much anymore. I want to bring people in. I don't want to push them out. And my cussing can do that. But the Navy is most assuredly not the Marine Corps. And until Olivia gets back, we're just going to go ahead and just poof. Holy Lord. I can't really do that, can I? What if I do that and that and I don't know, that? That's annoying. But the whole point is that the Navy has as much need for camo as the Air Force needs a golf course. That's the truth. That's the truth. So when we look at Ukraine and Russia, what bothers me is sympathy. The loyalties to every single person shouldn't be China, shouldn't be Russia, shouldn't be Taiwan, Japan. It should be to the United States of America. And you think a lot of these people who support either China or Russia on either side of the aisle would get the message, that we are most assuredly and should be a nationalist country, especially in today's day and age. I don't know if you've noticed, but things in the Middle East are firing off at an epic level. Here, I'll put devils on my shoulder. I don't even know if we can see this. I'm sorry, Instagram. I don't know if you can see this. Here, I'll give myself boobies. There we go. That looks good. So you're talking 103 attacks on U.S. installations or servicemen. And that's a lot. And the United States is going to have to ask the question sooner or later, what was Israel's ball drop when it came to intelligence? What happened? We need to know. And when you have Israel with the instability that was going on in this country, it was very much like Brexit. It was very much like in 16 and 18, when you saw England struggle with conservatives versus the left. You saw that in Israel. And Netanyahu was under investigation. There was a lot of talk of uprising in Israel. But let's be honest. If we're going to say what happened, I didn't say this before because I keep some things to the chest and don't talk about it because I don't want to create dissension and drama and do guesswork. But after reviewing what I've reviewed and talking to the people I've talked about, there's one reason why Israel missed this that nobody's mentioning. It's their level of involvement in Ukraine. And their intelligence system, intelligence apparatus has been very involved with Iran's movements when it comes to how they're supporting Russia with mercenaries and supporting the Ukraine war. And that is one of the quid pro quo trades that we made with Israel, is that we need their help and their intelligence apparatus, which is extremely effective, especially in the human intelligence piece, to help with the Ukraine war. And they have been at an epic level. Mossad has been extremely involved. And if they're constantly focused on Ukraine and Iran, it would make sense how they missed the Hamas attack. That's not that hard to figure out. There's nothing wrong with the Navy. I'm just telling you, we're not the Army and we're not the Marine Corps. For the love of God, they don't even qualify on rifle and pistol until you get to your fleet. I was the last class, 285. Class 285 was the last class to march and to drill and to parade with M16s. I got my expert pistol, my expert rifle, which means nothing because I was already a hell of a shot. And we were the last class 285. So my point is, if you want to get on a naval warship, you being effective at a shoddy or you being effective on a 16, it's now M4s. If they even have M4s. A lot of the carriers do. But the Marine Corps takes care of that because they've got a full group of Marines who will happy to support. But on LCCs and communication ships and smaller Arleigh Burkes and other things, they don't necessarily have a detachment of Marines. So the Master at Arms, Security Patrol, those guys essentially take care of the security on the ship. But if you're using a trench shotgun, you're already effed. That means you're trying to repel borders. And if you're trying to repel borders on a vessel, you're in SOL territory. That means they breached your inner security and your outer security, and you're toast. I don't care what size vessel you have, because there's very little defense outside of an aircraft carrier when it comes to security on naval vessels. The interior defenses are so state-of-the-art that you're not going to get to that anyway. I'm digressing a little bit. But if you're going to use a trench shoddy or something like that, the Navy isn't designed to be a hand-to-hand combat. There's no hand-to-hand combat training in the Navy. None. Every single bit of hand-to-hand combat that I got was an NSWAG, which was completely outside of the normal combat training that you would receive. In the Navy, your combat training is as follows. There isn't any. Zero. Now, if you become a master at arms, or you go to CB training, or you become a corpsman, or you work intel and you're going to be assigned to the teams or something like that, completely different story. Completely, the expeditionaries and intel, things like that. You can get that training. I mean, there's actual Navy guys with jump wings. There's Navy guys with qualifications in combat. There's corpsmen are hard chargers. So are CBs. So are team guys. So are EOD. So are the intel guys that are assigned to the teams. I mean, these guys train and they have the ability. But most of the Navy is not combat trained in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sorry, but loading a guided missile or doing target trajectory or over the horizon targeting for your weapon system is not combat training. So when I say that the Navy is not the Marine Corps, not the Army, they're not. But I will tell you this most assuredly. The Army and the Marine Corps and the Air Force are certainly not seaworthy, and on a ship, they're about as worthless as tits on a boar. I'm just letting you know. They don't have the training. They don't have the understanding. They don't understand the systems. They don't understand the protocol. A lot of these guys find their sea legs on their first deployment. It's not necessarily the easiest thing for those other branches either. So let's stop pretending that the United States Navy needs camo, okay? They don't need camo. They're not going to be in any jungle anytime soon. Okay? Good. We've got that covered. My whole point is that you're not going to get Ukraine to beat Russia. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's like getting Mexico to beat the United States. It's just not going to happen. The dumbest thing I hear on Twitter is support Israel. They're going to win the war. What? There's not a chance in hell they're going to win the war. What do you imagine? Ukraine is going to march on the Kremlin? You think they're going to take Petropavlovsk and Severomorsk? You think it's just going to be Stalingrad? That they're going to pop vodka and caviar and eat pierogies in the Kremlin? Do people realize that the closer they get to the Kremlin, the closer they get to Moscow, that the amount of forces that they're going to have to face will obliterate anything that gets within 150 miles of Moscow? You're not going to beat Russia. So let's stop saying, when Ukraine wins this war, are you on drugs? My 10-year-old knows that there is not a chance for Ukraine to win this war. So can we stop pretending? Let's stop pretending. If anybody disagrees with me, 804-212-2208, please tell me what the strategy is to take Mother Russia. Let me know. Yeah, we shot the 45, and then I got to shoot the 45 once, and then on my ship I qualled with a 9mm. Yeah, and I qualled on all weapon systems on my ship. But by that time I was already qualled on those things anyway, because the detachment that I had required me to play around with some really cool people with some really cool systems. But that's rare. You don't see it. You hardly see people with an expert rifle and an expert pistol. I didn't even wear those ribbons. I was required to wear those ribbons. I didn't wear those ribbons because it's an embarrassment. You don't even go outside. You don't even range your weapon. The firearms instructor, the master at arms, does it for you. And he hands you a freaking 22 modified M16. And you got to shoot like 25 yards. Give me a break. Now, you want to put me on, 500 to 600 yards? All right. You want to give me a 308? You want to go have some fun? Sure. I'll crush it. I'll zero that son of a bitch in 2 to 3 shots. That's not what the Navy does. Iron sights? Give me a break. Iron sights at 25 yards? You don't need sights at 25 yards. All you got to do is just point it. You'd be like Olivia fire and just get it close. Right, Livy?
Yeah.
How's our child? God, you're beautiful. I mean, that's 4. That's 3. You just take my breath away, woman.
Thank you.
Every time you come on, God, I'm just like.
You love me.
It's really lust, but it's an L. There's an L in it.
Yes, that's true. She's got 100.5 temp.
She's fine. That's because she's actually working.
So
she's had to do chores today. That's why.
Yeah, well, she feels warm and she's got a headache. So I gave her some Tylenol, made her some tea.
Okay. Well, suck it up. Hard work.
But she's also freezing. So I gave her a blanket.
Whatever. So we're talking. I'm glad she's okay. Sincerely. So we're talking about just this ridiculous notion that Ukraine has a chance to win this war. Right?
Yeah.
How does Instagram look with these 2 circles? Does that look okay?
Yeah.
Let me see it.
You're like partially cut off, but no, that's better. Yeah, that's good.
Does that look good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Better than stacking them?
Stacking would probably be better, I think.
Okay. So like that?
Yes.
All
I
right.
think that would look better.
Do we have actually a few people? Oh, we do.
Mm-hmm. I can't, it doesn't give a count of how many people are on
That's
Instagram.
fine. All right.
Because right now it says there's only one person watching, but that number never changes even though people join.
All right. So I've cussed 3 times. You got to monitor Facebook chat because I think there's going to be people who have some things to say who may be upset. Let me see. There's a Paul guy. Been waiting to see what the subjects will be this evening. Love your shows. Thanks, Paul. I'm Navy vet, retired factory worker. Your words don't bother me. Good. I agree, Matt. I handled 45 caliber pistol one time while in boot camp. All right. Yeah, Paul's been around a while. I've seen Paul before. All right. So let's get into this video. Now, okay. I gotta dive into something. Don't get upset. Because like black people can say that word that we can't say, as Christians can go ahead and talk to other Christians, as women can have the talk with their daughter and men can't, and men can have the talk with their son and women can't. We all have little clubs that we're a part of where we can say things, and you may not like it, but it really doesn't matter because you're a civilian, okay? So you're a civilian, so suck it up. If you don't like this, I don't care. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you, Livy. I care that you care. God, you're hot. So
we know what's on your mind. Shall we just say goodbye and call it a night?
8 seconds went by.
My goodness.
So here's the deal. Honestly, with just all the love I can muster in my heart, the military is full of shitbags just like civilians. There are people who don't do their job. There are people who don't listen. There are people who drink and get drunk. There's people who beat their wives. There's people who deal drugs. There's murder. Just because you're in the military, it doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden shit hot. Now, every military person knows what I'm talking about. Every single person knows what I'm talking about who's been in the military. And when you say shit hot, now I can say that because that's not a cuss word, even though it is. Every single branch knows what shit hot means. They just know. And I don't care if it's 20 years ago. I don't care if it's today. Every single one of them knows what shit hot means. And when you got a shit hot Marine, you got a shit hot sailor, shit hot Army, shit hot Coast Guardsman, and there's nobody in the Air Force who's shit hot. Let's just be honest. So you've got like diarrhea warm, okay? But every single person knows what it means. But you also, instead of have shit hot sailor, shit hot Marine, shit hot Army, you have shit bags. And every branch knows what that is too. And these are the people who should not be in the military. We all know. We don't like them. We want them out of our unit. Every one of us have been platoon commander, and we despise them. Because at some point, the chief or the master guns or first sergeant came in and said, hey, go square away PFC shitbag or seaman apprentice shitbag and fix him because he's a soup sandwich and he's going to get us all killed. And you're shit hot. So you need to turn that shit bag into something better. This is true. No truer words have been spoken, and I have let you in on the secret as civilians. So when somebody goes, I'm in the military, and you're like, thank you for your service, fine. But the moment that you believe that that person is somehow elevated or above you or has earned ribbons they haven't earned or earned accolades or medals that they haven't earned, be careful, because not everybody's Sergeant Rock. There's some really good people out there. And most veterans are pretty squared away. Most. But there are a lot who are not. Okay? We good? Everyone fine with that? Fine. So now we're going to talk about Scott Ritter. All right? And Scott Ritter is an enigma. And I'll be honest with you, I don't find a lot of value in Scott Ritter. Now, why don't I... we're down low. Look at us. We're way down low in this picture.
Interesting. You're going to have to tell me who Scott Ritter is. I'm pretty sure
I'm pretty confident you're going to get it.
By the way, look, guess what just came?
Is that no,
she said
no,
came.
No, that was not
Beavis.
code.
Butthead. Cornholio, my butthole. Yeah, definitely.
That was wrong choice of words.
She said came.
So wrong.
All right, so
your counterclock thing.
son of a motherless.
Yeah, it just
Amazon,
got delivered.
Well, we'll put it up. You guys, we got a great counter clock coming. It's going to be date, time. It'll have a countdown on it. It's just going to keep us so, I don't know. It's professional. It looks great. It's a really cool LED clock. It's coming. We ordered it, but
Yeah, she said come. Yeah.
Know what is on your mind.
yeah, we've already, every 8 seconds, woman. Every psychological study says so. All right. So I have to somehow keep Olivia engaged in this because this is hard. It's hard to keep Olivia engaged in it. This is Scott Ritter. Now, I wasn't going to do this tonight. I was going to wait, and I was going to build, because I don't really talk about people unless I really research him, but I got enough. I don't need much. And I'm not going to traipse on the man. I'm not going to try to destroy his reputation. I am just going to tell you the things that he has done that are shitbag and the things that he has done that are shit hot. That's my job. Now, there's some people out there like At War Clandestine who are complete just chuckleheads. And Jake Shields, who's an anti-Semite, hates Israel, who follows this guy. And this guy has 240,000 followers. It baffles me. It really does, because I know what I could do. All I would have to do is start saying the exact same things that he's saying, and I would be an overnight success in the community, in the alt-right community. But I won't do it because I don't believe everything that this guy says, and I don't believe everything that they believe. This guy, in my assessment, and I'm just going to give you my professional assessment, he is off the effing rails. And there are plenty just like him. But this guy is listened to. People say he's an established analyst. He is an expert analyst. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. And Olivia, if you have questions, please do. But we're going to go into this and we're going to watch this. And then I want to get your assessment. What is your assessment of Mr. Scott Ritter? Here it is. Whoops. Okay, Scott, just be patient. I can't believe Amazon delivered my stuff late. Ugh. All right, here it is.
That Israel has over the American domestic political reality. Israel controls everything. We're not reality. It tells you is the control that Israel has over the American domestic political reality.
Okay. Israel has complete control. I got to listen to it again. It was so stupid.
Somebody said that volume's pretty low on it.
Okay, let me turn it up.
It tells you
Is that better?
Let us know if that's better.
Oh, okay. Let me know.
The control that Israel has over the American domestic political reality.
The American domestic political reality. What?
I don't even know what that means.
What does that mean? This guy's like Kamala Harris. What? What does that mean? Domestic political reality. Help me. Help me understand what it means.
I can't.
I'm an educated man. I'm a smart man. I have no idea what the hell that means. So here we go. Let's listen to the rest. He's already starting off on the wrong foot.
Israel controls everything. We're not a sovereign state anymore. Israel literally has bought the American Congress and bought the American presidency and bought the American establishment. Where's the American media? You know, I was always one of those people.
First of all, if you're a Trump supporter, you're a right supporter, why are you asking and surprised that the media is not doing their job? Number one, if you're an intelligence analyst, you know as well as I know as an analyst that the media will never tell the American people the truth because most of them are either in on it or don't know. So for this guy to even say, well, where's the media? You know where the media is. In the same place they've been for the last 35 years after Vietnam, they are in the back pockets of the politicians and the big donors because these media conglomerates get them elected. Now, your comment is, well, the Jews own all the media. No, they don't. They own a large portion. And there's a lot of influential Jews, but their religion and their disposition or ideology very rarely is going to cross the dollar. And that's any religion. And I don't care if it's some Shiite tycoon, oil tycoon. I don't care if it's Elon Musk. Very few people who are surrounded by the amount of money and wealth that they possess are going to be motivated by anything other than the almighty dollar. So for him to say otherwise is ridiculous. Second, Israel is like the 20th richest nation in the world. They don't have the money to own the United States. They don't have the influence to own the United States. And if you believe that that's true, please explain to me what Israel gains by buying U.S. politicians or buying the U.S. government. Because that's not what Biden did during the Obama years, and that's not what Obama did. They neglected Netanyahu. They abandoned Israel. So if anyone is bought and paid for by Israel, you're telling me it's Donald Trump because he was the biggest advocate and supporter. So now you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. So who is it? Who does Israel own and at what benefit? Because the United States controls the reins of Israel. Do you really believe that Israel waited to go and level Gaza because some sort of moral conflict? Not a chance. They stopped because the United States pulled the reins. So you can sit here and say all this, but what you've already established is that you hate the Jews. And I know why you hate the Jews. Because I've done your bio and I know your history.
What's his history?
Well, I'm going to tell you that. The Jews crossed him. So this guy, let's listen to the rest of his BS and then I'll tell you all about him and his history.
Well, it sort of got a little uneasy when people would put up the list of, media moguls in America and talked about how many of them were Jewish and how many had links to Israel. I'm like, oh, God, that's a little anti-Semitic, don't you think? Not anymore. Because the silence of the American media is deafening. The American media is standing by and allowing Israel to commit genocide, and they're not doing a damn thing about it. This should be at the top of everybody's. This should be the lead story. They should be calling out the hypocrisy of the Biden administration. They should be condemning Benjamin Netanyahu. They should be condemning Israel, but they can't because Israel owns them. Israel owns everything. And so America is going to be sacrificed on the altar of Zionism, on the altar of this Israeli state. This is all about.
Zionism. More and more people are sounding like Muslims, radical Muslims. This is the way that anti-Jews in the United States and around the world and Muslims talk about Jews. Is it Zionism, Zionist, Zionism, Zionist? This goes back a long time, and we're not going to get into that tonight. But anybody that leads with that, I immediately know which box they check. They're either a white nationalist who is alt-right to alt-right can be, or they're Muslim sympathizers, or they are a group of people who are anti-Jew. And that's fine. You can feel that way. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the conversation that's saying Israel owns the United States. These comments, the Rothschilds, and you guys, you can't sit here and say out of one side of your mouth that BlackRock runs the United States and then go ahead and say it's the Rothschilds. Oh, no, it's not the Rothschilds, it's the Crowns. Oh, no, it's not the Crowns, it's the Waltons. Oh, no, it's not the Waltons, it's the Koch brothers. It's not the Koch brothers, it's Soros. Maybe, just maybe, your global conspiracy is just that. Because if you actually think that Israel has bought the United States, tell me how. Tell me how. And you don't get to say, well, they run the Hollywood, they run the lawyers. Well, that's correct. And the Asians usually do engineering and chemical engineering. Okay, if you just want to know. And white people usually go above advanced degrees, whatever those degrees may be. But everyone has their niche. Okay? And blue-collar people usually operate the cranes and are the plumbers and the HVACs. Everyone's got their skill set. Surprisingly enough, most mechanics are either Hispanic or white. Everyone's going through their mind. Was my mechanic black? Nope. So everyone has their niche. And lawyers and banking is what the Jews have done for 3,000 years when you're trading pelts and you're trading dates, all the way up to trading record and music contracts or doing some sort of corporate law. Get used to it. Let's listen to the rest of this thing. Eddie Jones, I have asked you 3 direct questions and you will not give me an answer. Who are you talking to? I hit you up on Facebook 2 times last night. You completely ignored my question. You're not going to ignore me in chat. I'm calling you out. Another dude looking for relevance. Who are you talking about? Because you've been on my show a long time. And I've seen you here. Who are you talking about? All right, let's listen to the rest of this.
Assuaging the ego of Benjamin Netanyahu, the world's most evil man today. There's nobody in the world more evil than Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's an American friend. This is Christmas. I hope every American listening looks in the mirror and pukes, because that's what you should do when you look at your reflection, because you're an American. You stand for nothing except the death of so many people.
United States Marine Corps, this gentleman is an intelligence officer for the United States Marine Corps. I'm going to walk you through everything that he's done. I just want you to listen to his BS a little bit more.
We suck as a country. We have become so far off course, it's not even funny. Look, there's nothing the United States can do to change what's happened here. We would have to physically land 100,000 Marines on the Yemen soil to secure the straits, to physically.
What straits? How come all these Middle Eastern experts can't name the straits? They can't pronounce them properly. Does anyone notice that? To lock down the strait. Which straits? There's multiple. Straits of Magellan? The Straits of Hormuz? I bet this guy pronounces the Straits of Babas. The what? If you're an intelligence analyst and you don't do basic geography, you sucked at Nimitzi. You sucked. You graduated bottom of your class. Geography happened to be one of the toughest things you learned in intel training. It's not easy to memorize every single city and province in the world, every capital of the world, every weapon system that those countries have. If you can't do that, if you can't shine your shoes, if you can't fold a t-shirt, if you can't make a bed, there's no damn way the United States Navy, Marine Corps, Army, or ever anyone else is going to give you a weapon system that can kill. If you can't do the most basic and rudimentary things, then you have absolutely no business doing anything else. This guy can't name the straits. He doesn't know what straits he's talking about. He doesn't know what the straits name is in Yemen. He has no idea. Because I listened to the rest of his analysis and it's completely bunk. First of all, there's 179,000 active Marines right now. How are you going to get 100,000 Marines in Yemen? Olivia, I want you to pull up a map of Yemen right now, sweetie. You have absolutely no military training whatsoever. I want you to do that for me. Let me know when it's up.
Okay, it's up.
I want you to take, now, do you have all the countries?
No. Should I just do a map of the Middle East?
Yeah, just do Yemen, and you're going to see like Saudi Arabia, you'll see Oman, you'll see UAE, you'll see all of the Middle East.
Got it.
I just need a few countries. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if someone has taken the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb, which is the straits that this stupid prick is trying to say but doesn't know them, and they're going to take those straits, and they need 100,000 Marines to secure the country. As you look on the map, could you please, I'm going to pull it up with you.
Okay.
You and I are going to do this together.
Okay.
Because I love you. And I'm going to minimize this waffle, and we're going to look at it together. All right?
Okay.
So let's just look right here. Let's do,
I got a pretty good map.
let's just look at it together. Okay. Do you see what I'm looking at, sweetie?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, based upon your map and your intelligence, what is this right here, sweet pea?
That's Oman.
That's correct. What's this?
That's United Arab Emirates.
UAE, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's UAE. Now, what is this?
Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Now, this guy is going to go ahead and give you his insertion plan. How do I know this? Olivia, ask me how I know.
Because was in the Middle East your AOE?
Yeah,
Or-
but I also wrote the strike package for several countries if we were to go into. And this guy is now going to tell you that in order to bring Marines onto land, that we would have to do a World War II style amphibious assault. And I object. I object so hard because I'm going to tell a non-analyst, she's going to tell me what we should do instead versus Captain Commando here. Okay.
Okay. So
So,
this.
but we got to listen to Captain Commando
Okay.
first. Then
Got
I'm going to
it.
have you give me the analysis of where you think we should insert from
Okay.
and where we could insert from other than amphibious assault. Here it
Okay,
is.
you're gonna have to show me where this strait is. that
Just listen to me.
okay.
Here it
They
is.
remove that. We don't have 100,000 Marines to land. And how are we going to get them that close to shore? The classic way that we're currently configured is a legacy system of amphibious warfare where we put all the Marines on one big ship, inviting that ship to be sunk.
Geez, I wonder how we got them into Iraq. I wonder how we got them into Afghanistan. Did we do an amphibious assault? All the Marines in Afghanistan. What about Bosnia Herzegovina? I wonder how we got them on the outskirts of Syria. Hell, I wonder how we got them into the Ukraine. Do you think, did we come up from the Black Sea and do an amphibious assault? Is that what happened?
I'm gonna
Don't-
assume.
The answer is no.
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
Why are we doing this? What do we hope to achieve? We will not open up the straits.
What straits? You can't even say them. You don't even know what straits you're talking about.
Will not. This carrier battle group is a legacy concept dating back to World War II.
Okay, I'm going to blow this guy out of the water. Welcome to the United States Navy, pal. Because Marine Corps intelligence, I have a lot of respect for you, but this guy is a freaking joke. Here's Yemen. Right down here. Hold on. Let me get my mouse working. Come on. Where's my mouse? Can you guys see that? No, you can't. Let me escape. Oh, I can't escape. Hold on. I can't do it, Captain. I ain't got... All right, here we go. Here's Yemen, right, Liv?
Yes.
Okay, you see Yemen. We already said this is Oman. We said
Yes.
this is United Arab Emirates.
Yes.
This is the Persian Gulf.
Okay.
Okay, got it?
Got it.
Okay, great. Here's the Red Sea.
Okay.
You have straits here.
Okay.
Coming up, you have right here is the Bab al-Mandeb Strait.
Got
right
it.
here.
Okay.
Okay, it's right by Did You Booty. Like I did you last night. I did you booty.
Okay.
She had a little bit too much to drink and I did her booty. All right.
Oh my goodness.
So this is what he is saying with this area in this quadrant that Yemen has cut off. Now, let me tell you something. Yemen has world-class anti-ship missiles. They have cruise missiles. They have 2,200 kilometer and 1,500 kilometer cruise missiles. They're a threat. That's all they have. And they have suicide drones. Okay? They've got several other missile systems that can threaten carrier groups. But honestly, give me a frickin' break. Although they are more advanced, the Houthis are not going to go ahead and sink carrier groups. I'm just letting you know, okay? Second, Olivia.
Yes.
You want to get 100,000 Marines into Yemen, which, by the way, it wouldn't take 100,000 Marines. You could take Yemen with 10,000 Marines, okay?
Okay.
You don't need 10,000 Marines. What you need is consistent bombing to take out command and control, and then you need hunter-killer groups to go in there and literally take them out. And it's not going to take a lot to take over Yemen from an air superiority standpoint. That would take about 2 minutes. From a naval standpoint, that's going to take about 5 minutes. Then it's all about bombing them to next year. Now, here's the question. Olivia?
Yes.
Is there any landmass in the area of Yemen that you would think that we could go into an airport somewhere in a country in that general vicinity to transport Marine Corps personnel, or a body of water that we could go into and traverse over that country to bring in mechanized infantry, war machines, forward operating bases, all that type of stuff? Is there a country somewhere that's friendly with the United States in that vicinity? Please tell me.
Saudi Arabia?
You got it. You just surpassed an S2 intelligence officer for the United States Marine Corps and former UN weapons inspector, and realized that amphibious warfare in Yemen is about as useless as tits on a boar. And they don't put 100,000 Marines on ships anymore and launch them off in seagoing amphibious assault rafts like the Nazi Germany bunker system. I mean, this guy is a complete dipshit of epic proportions. Saudi Arabia. There are 170 airports from Yemen all the way up to Bahrain. We've got naval amphibious units in Bahrain. You can go through UAE if you wanted to, and I bet if you put enough pressure on Oman, they would allow you to as well. But the worst case scenario is you come down from the south of Saudi Arabia into Yemen. Give me a frickin' break. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. If anybody's stuck in World War II, it's this yokel. Complete ass clown. Okay?
Can I escape out of the map now, or do I still need to look at it?
You're done.
Okay.
I just wanted to I just wanted to chat with you about that. See what you
Thank
thought. Now, here's the rest of the video. Listen to this. By the way, good job, Liv. I didn't set you up for that at all.
No, you didn't.
Here it is.
It has no application in modern warfare today whatsoever. None.
I know that I cussed, and I'm sorry. Now, this guy then says that a carrier battle group has no purpose today in today's world, in today's society. That it is an archaic system of warfighting. Okay. We're not flying Corsairs off the back of 1950 diesel aircraft carriers. You are talking about 5,000 personnel, Navy and Marine Corps personnel, full combat CIC command centers that are just as capable as SAC NORAD, Strategic Air Command, CENTCOM, which I'm not going to go into the location, and other places across the world. They can run independent warfighting capability for naval and air superiority for extended period time up to 6 months. They can do over-the-horizon targeting, which I will not even give you the range, but the limited range of most of the destroyer class is 500 miles. You add aircraft, you add Diego Garcia, you add Ramstein Air Force Base, you add CENTCOM in some undisclosed location, which I'm not going to tell you, you can control and rain hellfire on multiple countries with the amount of coordination that an aircraft carrier can do, let alone its own entire naval forces with support with B-2Bs coming out of Diego Garcia and Ramstein. And this guy says that the single biggest advantage of our 11 carrier strike groups, our CSGs, and LHD and LHEs, which are amphibious assault vehicles, LCC type craft that are renamed for Marine Corps, LHAs, LHDs, and LHEs. These weapon systems house thousands of Marines. And you're telling me the single biggest advantage in the United States arsenal is an archaic system. This guy is a complete chode. And I'm going to tell you why, because I'm not done. And that's just his intelligence analysis, okay? But civilians are listening to this guy because they don't know any better. They're listening because they don't know any better. Listen to the rest.
You think the Houthi are afraid of American airplanes dropping American bombs?
Yes, Houthi and the Blowfish are most officially terrified of the United States dropping bombs. Houthi is going to cry as much as dolphins make them cry. You stupid son of a Houthis. It's not the Houthis. It's not the Houthi and the Blowfish. Darius Rucker is not a Houthi. The Houthis. The Houthis. The Houthis.
Ain't going to change anything because now the airplanes take off from an aircraft carrier, except that it's going to be easier for the Houthi to target that aircraft carrier. Nope.
Assuming that they have the advanced radar capabilities to go ahead and IFF and squawk our fighter aircraft, do you really think that we're going to park a carrier within range of Yemen once they fire off? No, we're going to pull back and we're going to sit back 500 miles. So our early morning Sea-Wiz systems will destroy anything that comes within 200 miles of any of our freaking aircraft carriers, and we are going to rain hell on them. We're going to kill every radar system, anything that squawks, civilian or otherwise. We'll take out all computers, command and control communication will be non-existent. We will knock them into the Stone Age in 72 hours. This guy knows nothing about strike. This guy knows nothing about his role. How in the hell this guy was Marine Corps and intelligence, I have no idea, but I'll tell you, I found out some things and I'm going to give it to you in just a second, but let's go ahead and listen to the rest. I know I'm building it up.
Nobody's thinking through the consequences of American chest beating. We're America. We can deploy a carrier battle group. So what? No one cares anymore. No one's losing any sleep about an American carrier battle group 2 or 3. The world doesn't care anymore because it's an irrelevant military force.
Oh my God. It makes me sad that this guy and I probably ate some of the same chow in the same areas. This guy and I slept in similar berthing units. Not I.E. That this guy went to the same Naval War College as I did. This guy went to the same intelligence training center that I did. This guy went through the same C courses that I went through, and he has zero knowledge of what he's talking about. Now, I understand this guy was in the Persian Gulf. I respect that. Congratulations. I understand this guy has done things in his career, but this guy is what they call a dinosaur. He's a relic. He has no idea what he's talking about in today's military. Now, is the Navy underperforming? Yes. Have they failed most of their ratings? Yes. They are still the most lethal fighting force in the entire world. Nobody. Explain to me why Russia isn't running proxy. Why is Iran backing off? Why is every single country not doing a damn thing right now in the Middle East, except hitting the targets that are on their soil? They've launched at aircraft carriers. Every single missile strike, there has been hundreds. They've been shot down. The CSG fighting forces are single-handedly the most lethal and deadly weapon system on the planet. Period. Full stop. We're not done. Almost done.
We're doing this because Israel wants to kill Palestinians. Let's just be straight up here. There is no military strategy for Israel anymore. They can't win against Hamas. They've already proven it. And America's told them, you got to shut this thing down come the end of the year. Okay, you got to transition to another mode of operation. So what's Israel doing between now and the end of the year? Simply slaughtering as.
Hold on a second. I got to take care of something. Amy, stand by. Amy, Stamcombe, stand by. Okay, you're good to go. Ed, you're fine. Sorry, buddy. I didn't get your answer. You kept cussing out a video of mine, and I didn't know who the hell you're talking about. You got to clarify. When you hate on my video, you got to make sure it's not me. I get sensitive. Here we go.
Many Palestinian civilians as possible. That's it. It's genocide. And we're the ones enabling it. We're going to veto another UN effort to bring about a ceasefire. A ceasefire. We say no, let the Israelis kill as many Palestinians, because it's not about defeating Hamas. It's literally about slaughtering Palestinians. The Houthi have said, we want.
It's not Houthi. No dolphins make me cry. I love you, baby. I do not lie. I am crazy and I don't know. I don't have the rest of the words.
That to come to an end. We need humanitarian good. So America is going.
We need a humanitarian good. Anyway, finish your thought, brah.
Sacrifice everything, because we're going to lose. I'm just telling you straight up, we're going to lose. We're sacrificing everything for what? What it tells you is the control that Israel has over the American domestic political reality.
American domestic political reality
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Oh my God.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
He sounds like John Goodman. I was waiting for Roseanne to pop out in the background or something like that.
This guy, okay, let's just get into it, because this is going to take up most of the show. And I want you to watch Olivia's face drop.
Okay.
I'm going to look to my left, because I had to get notes. A lot of notes. All right, here's his history. Are you guys ready for this?
I don't know.
I don't leave any stone unturned. And I will tell you that there are two sources that I'm using, and I'm going to be transparent. One of them is Wikipedia, and then another one I'm not going to tell you, because I can't tell you what the source is. But I will tell you this. The intel community is very tight-knit, and we're very close. And we all talk to each other. And we all kind of have like that. If you go ahead and you lay your penis out on a blackjack table in Vegas and you get blacklisted, you can't go in any casino. Kind of the same runs of the intel community. We like to keep a record of who's batshit crazy and who's not. So let's go through this. Oh boy. William Scott Ritter was born on July 15th, 61. American author, international relations analyst, former United States Marine Corps IO intelligence officer, former United Nations Special Commission, UN CENTCOM, weapons inspector, and the thing that isn't open source, a convicted sex offender. Would you like me to tell you again? A convicted sexual offender.
What did he do?
Ritter served as a junior military analyst during Operation Desert Storm. He then served as a member of UN ESCOM, overseeing the disarmament of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq from 91 to 98. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Now, in 91 to 98, I will tell you a few things. There were. When you look at, I got to be careful what I say. I want to scratch my last comment. There were plenty of chemical weapons and weapons of mass destruction in 91, 98, whether it be sarin gas and other biologics. Completely true. However, when you look at most of his anger towards secondary involvement in Iraq, he was openly opposed to it, but he flipped his platform. And I want to be careful because there's some things I can and can't. He resigned his protest in 91 to 98. He later became a critic of the Iraq War and United States foreign policy in the Middle East, and he is a regular contributor, listen to this, to Russian state media outlets RT and Sputnik, or Sputnik. So those are the two things you need to know. Is 91 to 98 chemical weapons and weapons of mass destruction most assuredly will be used against Kurds, Sunni, Shiites, and anyone who opposed Saddam Hussein. Ritter was the subject of police sting operations for sex crimes in 2001, as he was caught masturbating to an underage girl who was actually posing as a police officer, and in 2009, and was convicted of sex crimes involving a minor in 2011.
Scumbag.
He was born in the military family in 61, Gainesville, Florida, graduated Kaiserslautern American High School in Kaiserslautern, Germany in 1979, and later Franklin Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He obviously was a military brat. Background, 1980, Ritter served in the U.S. Army as a private. Then in May 1984, he was commissioned as an intelligence officer in the United States Marine Corps, which is interesting. He used his college degrees and credit, and I don't even know if he had to go through, I think when you transfer into the United States Marine Corps, you still have to go through boot. At least back then you did. Marines, Thomas, Austin, where the hell are you? Talk to me. He served his capacity for 12 years. He served as a lead analyst for the Marine Corps Rapid Deployment Force, the RDF, concerning the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and the Iran-Iraq War. Ritter's academic work focused on the Basmachi resistance movement in Soviet Central Asia during the 1920s. During Desert Storm, he was a Marine captain. Railroad tracks. He served as a ballistic missile intelligence analyst under General Norman Schwarzkopf. Ritter filed multiple internal reports challenging Schwarzkopf's claim that the U.S. had destroyed as many as 16 Iraq's estimated 20 mobile Scud missile launchers, arguing that they could not be confirmed. Excuse me. BS. When you hit a Scud, this isn't some stray nuke that doesn't go off unless you have the primary charge hit. You hit a Scud, it goes. Why? Because mobile Scuds are usually fueled. And then they transfer and dump their fuel. And if you're going to do any strike on a Scud, you're going to do it when it's fully lit. So don't give me this crap that you couldn't confirm it. You could confirm it with a frickin' pair of binoculars 20 miles off the fucking coast. You don't need satellite tasking. You don't need an E2C Hawkeye. You don't need to get a thermal bloom. You can literally stand out there with binoculars and see it light up the sky. Okay? There's no physical evidence of blah, 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 blah. Bull crap. Because if you were in intelligence and you went after Scuds and you hit mobile batteries, you would know this. Idiot. Because not only do you want to take out the Scud, not only do you want to take out the fuel depot, not only do you want to go ahead and hit the refueling team and the launch team, you want to do that all in one nice little big package. And when that bird is full of fuel, it's going to kill anything within range, including the ordnance that we use. So don't give me this crap that we couldn't confirm it. I guarantee this guy's argument was, it's a mobile Scud, so therefore we couldn't know. Bullcrap. Even the most lethal ordnance that we could use to hit a Scud, it's going to leave some sort of remnants. It's going to leave a signature. Don't give me this crap. This guy liked to create waves. And I'll tell you why I know, and I'll tell you why he hates Jews. Ritter was quoted in a New York Times op-ed saying no mobile Scud launchers were destroyed during the war. On my children's lives and my wife, I have seen footage from 91 to 94 when I went in of Scud systems being hit multiple times And the reason I know this is that I wrote one of the strike packages along with 48 other intelligence analysts in strike that would go in and hit Tehran, hit Baghdad. And we use this as learning platforms. Give me a break. Give me a break. There were teams freaking lazing CSC3 silkworm sites too. I have forgotten more crap than this guy knows. Prick. No mobile Scud launchers. Later, he worked as a security and military consultant for the Fox News network. Go figure. Ritter also had a long relationship of an official nature with the UK's foreign intelligence agency, MI6, according to an interview he gave to Democracy Now in 2003. Worked for MI6. This guy, he had a 00 rating, 00 negative. I'm not done. I'm not done. Ritter worked as a weapons inspector for the United Nations Special Commission from 91 to 98, which he was charged with finding and destroying weapons of mass destruction and WMD-related capabilities in Iraq. So let me get this straight. One of the primary delivering systems for chemical weapons in Iraq were Scud systems. So this guy did this for 8 years and he never got one?
I'm wondering who he paid to write his Wikipedia page.
I want to know how bad he is that he just said they didn't take any Scuds down. It's ridiculous.
Are you going to tag him in the video so he hopefully watches this?
I'm going to light this guy up like a Christmas tree. I want him to come on my show so bad. I will expose this douchebag in about 2 seconds. All I got to do is ask him the Straits in Yemen. The guy doesn't know. And if he does know, he can't pronounce it. I guarantee it because most people can't. Ritter worked, let's see. Okay, here's comes the good stuff. Ritter was amongst a group of UN SOCOM, or SCOM, weapons inspectors that regularly took Lockheed U-2 imagery. Lockheed is what my grandfather worked on in Skunk Works. He was one of the designers, worked on the B-52, worked on the U-2 spy plane, worked on the SR-71. He was a avionics engineer for Skunk Works, worked with NASA. My grandfather, you say, who's Kurt Spear in that community, and everyone knows who he is. I had a guy in Japan. He was a Mason. He was a Freemason. A guy in Japan come up to me and tried to give me the handshake when he heard my last name was Spear. He says, you know Kurt Spear? I said, yeah, it's my grandfather. He tried to give me the secret handshake. I said, I don't know. I'm not a Mason. He's like, do you want to be? So my grandfather is renowned for what he did and lived in Marietta, Georgia, lived in Lancaster, California. If you don't know what Palmdale, Lancaster is and Marietta, Georgia is, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But just hearing those two cities, you should be like, oh shit, really? That's where he lived. He owned 3 houses in Hemet, California. He owned 4 in Marietta, Georgia. The guy knew his stuff. Anyway, U-2 spy plane. It's also what Lee Harvey Oswald used to work on in radio communications, and the Russians shot down and Khrushchev hit, which increased the tensions in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Whatever. Okay. Listen to me here. You ready? Here's a little bit of stuff that is not necessarily readily available that you need to hear. Here it is. Ritter was amongst a group on UN SCOM, that regularly took Lockheed U-2 imagery to Israel for analysis. As UN SCOM was not getting sufficient analysis assistance from the United States and the UK, this was not authorized by UN SCOM, the American U-2 having been loaned to UN SCOM and caused Ritter to be subject to criticism and open investigations by CID, by U.S. authorities, and the War Department. Iraq protested about the supply of such information to Israel. So you're in the height of your career. You're a former Marine intelligence officer. You've checked the boxes in your career. You've made it through without being completely shitbagged out of the military and just booted. And then Israel, you start giving imagery analysis to Israel that you're not authorized to do so. You share intelligence apparatuses, top secret, code word classified, SCI, compartmentalized satellite, scratch that, high altitude reconnaissance aircraft as the U-2 spy plane with Israel without permission, and you basically get a thumb up your colon from the military and the U.S. government.
How is he not in Leavenworth?
Well, that career was over at that point. His career is done. Okay? Now, Ritter, with the approval of UN ESCOM head Richard Butler and other top UN ESCOM leaders, began to supply the UK's Foreign Intelligence Service, MI6, with documents and briefings on US ENCOM's findings. To be used for MI6 propaganda effort dubbed, I'm just making sure there's things I can and can't say, Operation Mass Appeal. Here's a quote. I was approached by British intelligence service, which I had, again, a long relationship with of an unofficial nature, to see if there was information in the archives of UN ESCOM that could be handed to the British so that they could turn to work it over, determining its veracity, and then seek to plant it in the media outlets around the world in an effort to try to shape the public opinion of those countries, and then indirectly through, for instance, a report showing up in Polish press shaped public opinion in Great Britain and the United States. This guy is claiming that Great Britain and the United States of America cooperatively released confidential information and confidential sources and literally leaked information, and he's admitting to it. This guy has to be the dumbest mother
Smart.
I've ever run into. We're not done yet. I went to Richard Butler with a request from the British. He said that he supported this, and we initiated a cooperation that was very short-lived. The first reports were passed to the British sometime in February of 1998. There was a detailed planning meeting in June of 1988. I resigned in August of 98. Oh, I wonder why you resigned. This is an Operation Mass Appeal that had been going on prior to UN ESCOM being asked to the source of particular data, and its operation that continued after my resignation. So basically, this guy leaked secrets, gave them to Israel, got caught, went ahead and blamed it on a cooperative relationship between England and Israel and the United States, threw his superior under the bus, under Richard Butler, and created some ultimate cover story, Operation Mass Appeal. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But went ahead and leaked that information. Now, there's two things he did wrong. And they're mutually exclusive. The first thing he did is that he was authorized to do something in a clandestine way and then narked it off when the water got hot. Or he didn't get that authorization to do so and did it on his own accord and should be tried for treason. Almost done. 98, Ritter's inspection team in Iraq was blocked from some weapon sites by Iraqi officials who stated that information obtained from these sites would be used for future planning of attacks. UN inspectors then left Iraq. You guys remember, I'm sure you do, the confliction that happened with the inspectors from the UN and Iraq officials. And a lot of that was they're not letting us in to look at these sites. They're not letting us in. Well, the reason why Iraq didn't want to let them in is because probably a lot of this had to do with it, is that a lot of the information that was being collected, they thought, by the UN inspectors were to hit these soft targets and hit these chemical plants, to hit these, these UN inspectors hitting these areas and using that intel.
Bless you.
Excuse me. UN's weapon inspectors thereafter denied access to Iraq. Ritter spoke on the public broadcasting system, the NewsHour with Jim Lehrer. I think the danger right now is that without effective inspections, without effective monitoring, Iraq can, in a very short period of time, measured in months, reconstitute chemical and biological weapons, long-range ballistic missiles to deliver these weapons, and even certain aspects of the developing of their nuclear weapons program. In his letter of resignation, Ritter said that the Security Council's reaction to Iraq's decision earlier that month to suspend cooperation with the inspection team made a mockery of the disarmament work. Ritter later said in an interview that he resigned from his role in the United Nations weapon inspector over inconsistencies between Nations Security Council Resolution 1154 and how it was implemented. September 3rd, 1988, several days after his resignation, Ritter testified before the United States Senate Committee on Armed Services. During the testimony on September 3rd, Ritter was asked by Senator Joe Biden about his position on inspections when Biden criticized as a confrontation-based policy. According to Barton Gelman, Biden questioned if the inspector was trying to appropriate the power to decide when to pull the trigger of military forces against Iraq, with Biden stating that the Secretary of State would also have to consider the opinion of allies, the UN Security Council, etc. Ritter's testimony was disputed by Richard Butler, chief UN arms inspector, who claimed Ritter made factual errors and harmed UN ESCOM's mission. The previous chief inspector for Iraq, Rolf Ickes, said that Ritter was not in a position to know all of the considerations that go into decision-making on the commission. No shit. This is why you're an analyst. This is why you're an intel officer. You're not a decision maker. You don't make policy. You go ahead and you make assessments, and you make your best educated assessment that you can, and you ensure that if you don't know, you say that. Albright also publicly disputed Ritter's claims in a speech. In fact, the United States has been far the strongest internal backer of UN ESCOM. We have provided indispensable technical and logistical support, and the NRO has too. And if you don't know what that's the Naval Reconnaissance Office. You can go ahead and take a look at the NRO. They do a lot of the U-2 spy planning, and the NRO is an absolute backer of UN ESCOM. Ask me how I know. That's a long story. Break through the smoke, screen of lies, and deceptions put out by the Iraq regime. Let's go ahead. Desert Fox. In a 2005 interview, Ritter criticized the Clinton administration use of block inspection of the headquarters to justify Operation Desert Fox. A 3-day bombing campaign in 98 saw inspectors withdraw from Iraq, and they would not return until 2002. In his book, Endgame, Ritter explained that he was the one who had originally pushed for the fateful inspection of the Ba'ath Party headquarters over the doubts of his boss, Richard Butler, and also planned to use 37 inspectors. It was temporarily canceled because Iraq broke off the cooperation. Iraq war predictions. Just after the coalition invasion of Iraq, he had been launched, but prior to troops arriving in Baghdad, and the United Kingdom believed they had sufficient forces in Iraq. At the very time, Ritter offered an opposing view on Portuguese radio. The United States is going to leave Iraq with its tail between its legs, defeated. It is a war we cannot win. We do not have the military means to take over Baghdad, and for this reason, I believe the defeat of the United States in this war is inevitable. Every time we confront Iraqi troops, we may win some tactical battles, as we did 10 years in Vietnam, but we will not be able to win this war, which in my opinion is already lost, Ritter added. WMDs. Despite identifying himself as a Republican and having voted for George Bush, really, neocon? Ritter had become an outspoken critic of the Bush administration and claims that Iraq possessed significant WMD stocks or manufacturing capabilities, the primary rationale given for the U.S. invasion of Iraq in March 2003. Prior to the war, Ritter stated that the U.S. and British governments were using the presence of WMDs in Iraq as political excuse for war. February 2005, written on Al Jazeera's website, Ritter wrote, Iraqi resistance is a genuine grassroots national liberation movement, and history will eventually depict as legitimate the efforts of the Iraqi resistance to destabilize and defeat the American occupation forces and their imposed Iraqi collaborationist government. In 2012, Ritter said that the U.S. was bankrupt morally and fiscally because of this war. The United States is the laughingstock of the world. Sounds like this guy was radicalized. I wonder where he did that. There's stuff on Iran. Let's get into the sex offenses, because that's what Liv wants to hear. Ritter was the subject of 2 law enforcement stings operations in 2001. He was charged in June 2001 with trying to set up a meeting with an undercover police officer posing as a 16-year-old girl. He was charged with a misdemeanor crime of attempted endangerment of the welfare of a child. The charge was dismissed, and the record was sealed after he completed 6 months of pretrial probation. Ritter was arrested again in November 2009, I'm sure a victim of just some setup. Over communications with a police decoy he met on the internet chat site, police said that he exposed himself via a web camera after the officer repeatedly identified himself as a 15-year-old girl. The next month, Ritter waived his right to a preliminary hearing and was released on a $25,000 unsecured bail. Charges included unlawful contact with a minor, criminal use of communication facility, corruption of minors, indecent exposure, possessing instruments of crime, criminal attempt, and criminal solicitation. Ritter rejected a plea bargain and was found guilty of all but the criminal attempt count in courtroom in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, on April 14th, 2011. In October 2011, he received a sentence of 1.5 to 5 years in prison. He was sent to Laurel Highlands State Prison in Somerset County, Pennsylvania in March 2012 and was paroled in 2014. This guy has made plenty of predictions and comments. And the most dangerous person in intelligence is a person who doesn't understand their own limitations in intelligence. There is not one crib key. There's not one person who knows it all. And a low-level analyst or even a supervisor role, or even if you're in an officer role, an intelligence officer, your job is to task. Very rarely are you making decisions. Your information is to provide the information to the people who make decisions, and he certainly wasn't one of them. To pretend that he understands all AORs is ridiculous. There's a reason why I focus on Russia, I focus on Iran and the Middle East. I know a little bit about South Pacific too, but that's not important. The point is that you don't know everything. And this guy did not learn the one lesson in intelligence is you don't open your mouth unless you're sure. This guy opens his mouth a lot, and the only thing he's for sure about is that he's probably not going to go ahead and try to hook up with any 15 to 16-year-old girls because that hasn't worked out for him. Another thing in intel is you usually learn from your mistakes the first time, and the person that doesn't is a high risk and somebody who's usually booted out of the military. They finally caught on to that this guy was a douchebag, and they 86'd him.
Was he dishonorably discharged?
He resigned. He resigned his post before. But that's it.
What a scumbag. I can't believe he has such a large following. It's just ridiculous.
Most of those guys do, because nobody wants to do the research, right? Nobody wants to look up. I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you think that somebody can be credible and an upstanding citizen who tried to sexually assault a 16 and a 15-year-old?
No.
Ever? Could they rehab? Could they rehabilitate?
I think, yes, they could rehabilitate and try. I mean, I would never trust the person, but around my children. But, you know, everyone deserves a second chance. And I mean, and if, you know, I don't know.
Let me tell you this. Pedophilia and the abuse of children is a sickness. It's not a disease. It is you are wired in a way like alcoholism or like a homicidal maniac that it's incurable. Once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. Once you're a pedo, you're always a pedo. There is no coming back from that. This guy had all intentions of sleeping with a 14, 15, 16-year-old and probably would have gone younger. There is no credibility that this guy has. And that is the one thing that the intelligence community demands is credibility. And he has none. He has no honor. And just based upon his analysis that I've heard, I can't trust him. I'm going to show you one other video, and then we're going to call it, because it's important enough to me to seal the deal, because I still think there's some people out there who might be like, maybe he's said some stupid things, and we're going to go ahead and find that he's not as bad as we think. Oh, holy shit. Oh, this isn't the one I was going to show you. Watch this. You know, I love being right. Being right is so much better than being wrong.
And they've effectively closed. And now they've done something that really hurts, is because this, I guess it's a strait of Al-Babel or Man-Bel, I can't pronounce it. What the hell's going on? What are the Houthi doing? And then the Houthi just say, we're going to shut it all down. And they have. They've effectively closed the man, I can't say the word, the Man El Bab Straits. We just shut down the Bab El Mandeb Strait. Oh! And now they've done some.
You know what? Shitbags.
Oh, that's funny.
They all share things in common. They all share things in common, and you start recognizing cues of people.
Was not
and
a land
you
where
know when
Palestinians-
somebody doesn't know something, because they'll be like the Straits. Like, what Straits, dude? You're in the Middle East, bro. Do you know how many Straits? I can't believe that.
Have you ever like gone on to one of his live shows and commented? You totally should. Like,
I don't think he does a live show. I don't think he does it.
you should try to contact him, see if he can get on his show.
He won't. After what I just did to him tonight, this guy's not going to come on.
No, you see if you can get on his show.
I'm not going to go and sandbag him. That's stupid. If he wants to come on my show, I'll blow him apart. I'd love to. You know what? If he wants to get his ass kicked by an E5, I've got no problem with doing that. I would love to kick an Intel's officer's ass. I would love that. But if he wants to go ahead and compare Marine Corps intelligence with naval intelligence, bring it on, sucker. Because I'm certainly not going to go ahead and compare infantry or war fighting with him. But if he thinks that he's going to go ahead and slap this sailor around, I will knock his dick in the dirt every second he talks, because he doesn't know shit. Listen to this. This was on the Jake site that linked him. I haven't been to his page, but let's just listen to this shit.
Gaza was not a land where Palestinians lived in peace. It was an open-air concentration camp. And if you ask yourself, if you lived in that, if you were an inmate in this concentration camp, a prisoner, what would you do to liberate yourself? What would you do to free yourself? Hold another demonstration? Hold a rally. That'll do it. The Israelis will definitely listen to the rally. No, you do what all people who yearn to be free do. You stand up and you fight for yourselves. You know, Pierce Morgan, you're allowed to boo and hiss at this point, has made a reputation lately by having people on his show, and they'll say, but will you condemn Hamas? That's his question. Will you condemn Hamas? Hey, Pierce, invite me. I'll give you the answer. Hell no. I don't condemn Hamas. I support Hamas. Why? Because Hamas stands for the freedom of the Palestinian people. And the Palestinian people have every right to fight for their freedom, to struggle for their freedom, just like Americans did back in the day. They are the modern day incarnation of the Minutemen at Lexington and Concord. They speak a different language, they support a different cause, but the freedoms they seek are the same. Right. And these are freedoms that can't be granted by a rally or a gathering. They can only be given by those who are willing to sacrifice in that cause. And the Palestinians today are struggling. They are sacrificing for this cause. We as a peace movement, it's not our war. It's not. They have to earn this. And my God, they are earning it. That's right. The sacrifices that they are making, the courage they are showing in the face of insurmountable odds. What is our role here? To support them, yes. But we have to position ourselves so that when the fighting finally ends, and it will end, ladies and gentlemen, and Hamas will not be defeated. When it ends, we are prepared to find a path towards peace.
What a scumbag.
Shitbag. That's the term. I will tell you, there's a gift that I possess, and I am a very good judge of character. And I've always been. And I can smell a lie like a fart in a car. And I can look at somebody, and I am very good at their weak points. So if Mr. Ritter sees this, and he's not too big for his britches, you should come on this old Swabby's deck and spew some of that shit. And we'll talk about Hamas. We'll talk about Hamas, how you just compared the Minutemen of this country as terrorists. You're going to go ahead and say that the Minutemen sailed over to England, raped women and children, decapitated bodies, cremated the corpses, mutilated the corpses, hid under the most sensitive parts of England, the hospitals and the schools, and went into taverns and theaters and murdered people like cowards and took babies hostage. And you're going to go ahead and desecrate the Minutemen of this country and make them common terrorists. The only thing that made them common terrorists is the labeling that the crown put upon them as terrorists and treasonous to the crown. The fact that you could even compare Israel to England means that you are the dumbest, I'm sorry, people, the dumbest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Go look at the landmass of Arab countries, and you want to talk about conquering countries, imperialism? Have you even fucking looked at the size of Israel and the amount of Arab countries and Muslim nations around in the Middle East? It literally looks like Plano, Texas on the map of Texas. You're an idiot. Israel isn't conquering anyone. Israel isn't expanding its landmass. They're killing Hamas and they are taking out Gaza so this never happens again. Period. Now, is it tragic? Yes. Does it suck? Yes. Do I think Palestinians should die wantingly? No. I think the Palestinians should have handled this 17 years ago when you knew you were electing a terrorist organization into power to run your government. I think you should have done this 17 years ago when you knew and allowed them to run on the destruction of Israel. That 90% of adults who live in that country believe in the death of Israelis. That you train children as young as 2.5 to 3 years old how to kill Jews. I understand that most Palestinian Americans are sad, and they should be, but there's a trick. It's Palestinian Americans. If you want to actually look at what happened, let's just get down to the nuts, and then poor Olivia has had to sit here and listen to me do this shit.
I would love to go on his page and say something.
You should. Let me just tell you one thing. The Israelis made peace. Netanyahu did the bidding of the U.S. He did the bidding of Saudi Arabia because that was one of the peace accords. The Abraham Accords were extended. Saudi Arabia was going to sign. That is the only reason they attacked. You stupid fucking idiot. The only reason Hamas attacked was to destroy the peace talks between Saudi Arabia and Israel, to have another Arab nation support Israel. The changing of the entire ecology of that country, of that area, was starting to move towards a more progressive idea that Israel and Arabs, Jews and Arabs, could live together. And they attacked for that reason. The second reason that we know they attacked, more than just about anything, is because Israel was giving as much to Palestine as they could, including 75,000 work visas to allow them to come in over the secure areas while they mapped out, took photographs, and provided human intelligence to Hamas, the weak and soft points to those areas. The areas where the most civilians who were unarmed would be, the weak points in the gate where there weren't people. Listen, if you haven't been to Israel, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There is not literally hundreds of IDF on those gates. Charlie Kirk is full of shit. And you can tell him I said so. There is a military presence along those barbed wire fences and along those walls, no doubt. But if you think there is a freaking IDF soldier every 5 feet, every 50 yards, you're full of shit. They gave them food. They gave them water. They gave them infrastructure. They gave 75,000 work furloughs to come into Israel and work. They gave them everything that the Arab nations in the United States wanted, and they did everything they could to make peace. And what did they get? They got attacked. Give me a fucking break. This has nothing to do with genocide. Unfortunately, genocide is the person who wins the war, who gets to decide whether it was an altruistic cause, whether it's England against the United States, whether it's Iraq versus Kuwait, or Iraq and Kuwait versus, Iraq versus Kuwait, or it's Iran versus Iraq, or whether it's Yemen versus Oman, or the United Arab Emirates, or whether it's Russia, Ukraine. Whoever writes the history books gets to decide whether it was altruistic or genocide. And for people to say that this is ethnic cleansing, you don't give a shit about Mogadishu. You don't give a shit things that have happened in Africa. There are tens of thousands of Africans who are murdered each day for diamonds, minerals, and drugs. And you're going to fucking tell me that you care about ethnic cleansing? This is war. It's ugly. It's not pretty. And unfortunately, this is what it looks like. You're asking me, should Israel completely excavate Hamas and blow all of it apart? Yes, they should. And they've given everyone in Palestine fair warning to get the fuck out. And if you're going to stay there, well, then you're going to reap the consequences. And I really don't give a shit at all. Sorry. That's it. Liv? What are your thoughts?
What a scumbag. I really, really want to go to his page and say something.
It just comes down to this guy, he's not based in reality. The fact that he said that CSG carrier groups are an archaic form of warfare, that the world isn't scared of aircraft carriers. Can he explain to me why China hasn't taken over Australia then? Why wouldn't China take over Australia? Why wouldn't they take over Sri Lanka and Malaysia? Why wouldn't they go into India? They know what will happen. Why do you think Russia hasn't parked a freaking boomer submarine off of our coast in how many years? Why aren't they launching bear foxtrots over the United States? If nobody's scared of our carrier groups, then why aren't people poking the bear? Why are they sending up over balloon satellites and archaic technology? Unmanned. Because they know what will happen. Russia should try that out. China should try that out. Go ahead and put a nuclear sub off the coast of New York and watch what happens. Watch what happens when that thing passes Greenland and Iceland. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. I'm sorry tonight, Liv. Can I just give you a compliment? Mm-hmm. You, besides looking beautiful, you had an amazing show today. I loved doing that with you. It was fun. Mm-hmm. You should take more time off and we can do it. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? We have a few minutes before we go. Anybody got anything?
Everyone loves you.
What?
People love you. You're smart. Every night, people say, I learned so much from you.
Well,
just so you know.
Don't say things that aren't true. That's pretty simple, right? Don't say things that aren't true. Not me. I'm just saying, if you want to look smart, don't say things that are lies. Yeah. Don't talk about shit you don't know about. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just don't be stupid. Just don't be stupid. I mean, this guy is supporting a terrorist organization in the United States.
And so is majority of the United States, which is sad.
I don't think so. I really don't. I think there is a very large portion of this country. I told you when this started. What did I say? Do you remember when I said what the world would do?
They're in turn against the Jewish people.
I told you they're going to show who they really are.
Yeah.
You're going to find out what people really think of the Jews. There you go. And now we know. And I don't know, man. To me, here's the funny thing. Have you asked any of these people, do you know a Jew? You know what they're going to tell you? No. I don't know any Jewish people. How many Jewish people do we know?
A few.
A few.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not like they're the most prominent demographic in the United States. Can we be honest? Mm-hmm. They're disproportionate to the United States as far as from a theological standpoint and a demographic. They're a very small portion of the United States. That's the truth. There's more Muslims in the United States. Well, it's really actually just more Jews, but it's very close. But if you look at the hate crime against Jews, it's higher than transgenders. It's higher than African Americans. It's higher than Christians. It is single-handedly the most hate crimes are applied towards Jews. There is a very hateful feeling towards American Jews in this country.
I just don't get it.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah, I know.
We are a nation of immigrants, and a lot of the people who fled Germany, a lot of the people who were Nazis who came over here, a lot of the people who had indirect contact with those camps and knew what was going on, still had anti-Semitic and anti-Jewish feelings. They just don't go away. That's like saying that there's no racism in the South anymore. Well, there is. There's racism everywhere. But there were hot spots that have failed to catch up with the time, so to speak. There's a lot of German immigrants to this country. There's a ton. Pennsylvania is full of it. I'm German, for God's sakes. I mean, hello. There's a ton of German influence. And I'm not saying all German were Nazis, but there was an underlying of hatred, even to the most benign German citizen, towards Jews. And it would be very similar to compare the way we feel about Muslims or the way that sometimes we feel about Antifa or Black Lives Matter, or they feel about Proud Boys or certain Trump supporters. There's an underlying hatred that is going to take generations to get through. Like, long after Trump leaves, people will hate Trump supporters. And long after BLM and Antifa move on, people will hate BLM and Antifa. The same thing holds true for Jews. So the entire world hasn't forgotten that hatred that was bred out of Germany. But it wasn't just Germany. Italy was involved. There were many other countries that were in the axis of evil. So that culture stays. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who hate the Jews. And that's just the way it is. All right.
Sad.
It is sad. You shouldn't hate anybody. You should base people on their own merit, who they are. Mm-hmm. And we've done that tonight with Mr. Ritter. I hope he calls.
Oh, yes.
I can't believe he's on Napolitano. That should tell you something about Napolitano. Judge Napolitano has a pedophile on his show, huh? I don't like Napolitano. I've never liked Napolitano. I never, not once. I respect what he did. I respect.
Do I know who that is?
Yeah, Judge Napolitano. He's on Fox once in a while.
Okay.
But I don't like the way he. Listen, if you can't say one nice thing about Joe Biden, you're a part of the problem. If you can't say one nice thing about Donald Trump, you're a part of the problem. And Napolitano I don't think he's ever said anything nice about Donald Trump. That bothers me. Truly. You got to, if you can't say something nice about one person, I mean, I can say something about everybody. There's something we can learn from everybody. Even the worst people teach us how not to be that way. Those are good things. It's 10 o'clock, folks. Thanks for watching the Donut Friendly Show. We really appreciate you. I'm going to put up my new clock. I'm really excited to see it.
Go to YouTube.
Go
Subscribe.
to YouTube.
We're not going to hit 1,000 by the new year, but we could maybe hit 900.
Hey, guys, do whatever you can. He has a podcast. Who doesn't have a podcast? I'm a lowlife who has a podcast. Everybody has a podcast. Tomorrow, Olivia and I, on Friday night, or it's Thursday. Okay. Friday night, I think we're going to go over Howard Stern, when a serial killer called Howard Stern's show.
Yes.
It is one of the most intriguing 11 minutes you'll ever hear. And the case and everything about it. And Olivia and I think on Fridays, we're going to start doing things like we want to do Waco, Texas, or the Haley Bopp Comet, or things that have happened in the past that maybe we've learned things or we don't know about or people don't remember, and kind of learn together. And I didn't know a lot about this Howard Stern thing. I was watching the conflict between Joe Rogan and Howard Stern, and I just started watching and learning, and it was amazing. This guy called in, and it's really an interesting thing. So we're probably going to do that Friday. And every Friday, we're going to do that unsolved mystery thing where we kind of learn together and research it with you. And we think that would make a fun show. So listen, thanks for your support. We love the fact that we had 100 and, I don't know, with Rumble and everything, 150, 160 people on. That's great. Thanks for watching. Go watch the recorded show if you haven't been to Twitter.
It's a good show.
YouTube.
I'm on it, so you know.
Olivia's on it. It's a fun show. We also have 5 quick segments that we're going to do that are also like the one we did that are shorter. We'll be releasing those over the next couple days. Thanks, everybody. God bless. We'll see you.
Bless you.
Damn it, if I'm getting sick again, I'm going to smother my kids.
Night, y'all.
Oh, they're going to get me sick again. I'm looking for my clothes. Hold on. I think I got it. Good night, everybody. God
Night.
bless. See you tomorrow. 10 o'clock, Matt and Mike in the morning. Come see us. Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show.
What?
Wait.
What?
Wait.
What'd you miss?
Sorry, wait. Did we lose everybody?
No. Why? What's up?
Sorry, people remind me.
What?
Someone's like, you didn't do any Vivek. So I'll
Okay,
use
I'll be right.
No, I'll do this quick. Vivek Ramaswamy stopped all his campaign ads and all his TV commercials. Now he's pretending, and his campaign is like, we're going to start doing door knocking, and we're going to do, local events, and we're going to start hitting the internet. He's done. If you pull your campaign ads, that means you're broke, you're out of money, and his campaign is toast. He served his purpose, and you remember what I told you. He was simply there for distraction for Donald Trump. That was his job. He was there to make the rest of the field look bad. He was there to be an instigator, to be a distraction until Trump could handle his legal stuff. I would be very surprised if we don't find out that they were working together. The guy never spoke ill of Donald Trump, and that's it. So he has suspended all campaign dollars into TV commercials, and that's a kiss of death. They're 1 month from the Iowa caucus. You don't stop TV commercials 1 month before Iowa caucus. John says Vivek and Haley sucks. Yeah, but you can't tell me why Haley sucks, but I've already had that conversation with everybody, so I'm not going to do it again. I don't care. I don't root for sports teams. I want somebody who's going to go in there and actually have some credibility, and right now there isn't anybody. So that's my opinion. Vivek's done. He's toast. When he pulls out, he's going to sit right to the Iowa caucus just so he can bleed votes. He's there to make DeSantis look bad. He was there to make Haley look bad. Mission accomplished. Donald Trump lost ground, but he didn't lose as much as he should have. The thing is Haley did gain ground, and she's doing really well in New Hampshire. She's doing well in Iowa. Donald Trump should have faced her. I'm telling you, he should have faced her, but he didn't. That's why he's asking around his circles if Nikki Haley is a viable VP option, like I told you he would. Don't be surprised if Nikki Haley doesn't be his VP. He needs a woman. I've already told you. Noem's not going to get it with the infidelity thing. Carrie Lake's a fucking joke. Don't be surprised if he brings in another neocon like Mike Pence, because that's what she is. She's just like Mike Pence. So suck it up and deal with it, okay? Except on the abortion thing. She actually has a fairly open mind when it comes to that. But I don't think any of them suck. But VP, I've said that forever. She's not presidential material, but she has the ability to help Trump on the ticket, which is what he desperately needs. John, you better hope harder to God, because all the poll numbers are saying she's going to be VP. So, and you know what? It was my prediction. And when am I wrong? I don't know. You tell me when it happens, and I'll go ahead and admit it. Good night, everybody. God bless. I love you all. Seriously. I'm playing this, and then we're done.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree.
I'll do Melania. Oh, I swear. You know what? I forgot to do Melania. Friday, Melania. We'll go more into Vivek. I'm sorry. Melania. Where's Melania? Oh, I don't know. Every single media outlet has been like trampsing on the lady. They've torn her apart. She wasn't on the cover of Time. She wasn't on any covers of People magazine. They completely shunned her. They made fun of her. They insulted her. She's a businesswoman. She speaks freaking more languages than I have baseballs in this house. We'll talk about Melania on Friday. I'm sorry I missed it. We got going on the Scott Ritter thing. Now I'm done. Good night. Goodbye. See ya.